So it was back in 2002, 15 years ago, that Honda brought out their first CRF450R. Here we are 15 years and 15 iterations later, and we've got what Honda's calling their reimagined 2017 Honda CRF450R. So what have they done? So really the design philosophy is, I guess, in a lot of ways threefold. No real surprise that Honda's gone to quite a lot of lengths to articulate what it is. They've really looked to punch up the power and the torque of this bike. Some might argue that's been a little bit underpowered, a little restricted in recent years compared to its direct opposition. They've done a lot around the rear end to create some more traction at the rear wheel. And they've also worked very hard, as a lot of manufacturers have in recent years, to bring all the parts in toward the centre of the bike to make it handle. And Honda particularly articulated this idea of keeping the front wheel down. So here at Ranch MX, the revamped Ranch MX, a really amazing complex up here just north of Newcastle. We've had an entire day riding the bike here at the media launch, and we kind of figured we'd break this new Honda down into sort of 5 key areas that stood out for us as really mention worthy. So first one, and probably the biggest one, well, it's arguable because this bike is a completely overhauled machine, but the engine. Great to see HRC are now getting involved and really enthusiastic about this project. There's been a huge amount of effort to increase both the power and the torque. They're talking in the vicinity of 10 or 11%, I think, over just the 2016 model. But in terms of the overall package, much broader, much stronger, much snappier, and also but a much more forgiving motor that allows you to short shift and ride it, rev it hard, or actually run it low in the rev range. They've actually moved the power mode switch to the left-hand bars. You've still got the 3 power modes, which is really handy. A little bit annoying that you sort of have to stop and idle the bike to actually change it. You can't change it on the fly, but that's kind of quibbling in a way. With a 450, obviously great to have the opportunity of a more aggressive curve for a few people, but I guess aside from the standard curve, but for a mellower, more tractable curve. I actually, out here at the track today, ended up going for that more mellower curve. Takes the snap out of the engine, but still allows it to drive low in the rev. So in a lot of ways, the bike drives much more progressively. What I'd also like to do is take the thing out with a de-restricted airbox and really get a feel for what sort of power boost and response boost you get with de-restricting the airbox. But I think, long story short, it's a really marked boost in power and rideability, and a much easier bike to ride fast, I think, irrespective of your ability. That's my take on the thing. Righto, point 2. The second point we really want to talk about here is the ergos. And first thing that strikes you when you walk up to this new 2017 bike is how small and compact it is. It's almost difficult to believe, both looking at the engine and at the entire ergos, plastic seat, cockpit package, that it actually is, a fire-breathing 50-something horsepower 450 motocross bike. So that's the first thing that strikes you about the thing. It really is visibly small. Probably the big thing you notice with the new tank this year, this little shroud that runs over the top of here, and very different sort of plastics which are beveled over. In fact, the whole bike is incredibly seamless, really easy to grip with your legs, and there's been a huge amount of work that's gone into that. If I didn't catch a boot on anything all day, and when you have that capacity to move around the cockpit without actually getting snagged on anything, it just makes for a much, much sweeter ride. Just a kind of really refined version, but a very functionally refined version in terms of your capacity to move around in the cockpit, and I found that actually made a really big difference between this bike and its predecessor. Point 3, chassis. Subtle changes, still got the brilliant quality, the amazing quality welds, and the quality finish throughout this aluminium perimeter frame is just insane. They've actually shortened the swing arm, and they've shortened it by 23 millimeters, which is a lot. It really is a lot. Now, Honda has always had a sort of 15 to 20 mil longer swing arm than a lot of its Japanese competitors, so it was interesting that they've done that, but they've only reduced the wheelbase by about 10 millimeters. So essentially what they're trying to do, this new chassis is creating more drive, more transference of drive through the rear wheel, coupled with the broader engine, but with the other frame mods ensuring that the whole chassis maintains its stability. I'll be really interested to do a little bit more testing. There were a few guys that are having a bit of trouble getting that rear end hooking up today on some of the sort of hard pack. So today really we didn't have enough time to sort of play with the sheddings too much. But look, I found it a really high speed stability package, but also turned in. And I guess the other thing is there's been big changes in this exhaust system. The end caps of the exhaust are almost 80 mil closer to the engine. So again, just that centre of gravity, and you don't have that weight flapping off the rear end of the bike. Point 4, suspension. Honda's now moved away from the airfoil back to the coil spring fork, and they've gone to a 49mm shower unit. Big jumps today. I wasn't jumping everything on the track, but the fork feels pretty good. I know a lot of guys were sort of pumping up a little bit more compression on the things to hold it up in the stroke. I didn't bottom the thing today, so it's a really good all-round fork. But by and large, it was a really well-received unit. Point 5, and for all you Honda lovers out there, this is really not going to come as any surprise, but look, whenever you come back and revisit a Honda, you can't help being blown away by the quality of finish on the thing. I mean, everywhere you look, whether it's from the fasteners or how clever the plastics are made, the use of the particular fasteners, they're not overused, they're recessed, your boots aren't catching on the thing. just everything from the welds right through to everywhere you look on the bike. It suggests there's been a huge amount of design thought into it, rather than just, hey, let's grab a bracket from that hardware and bang the thing on and that'll do. And interesting also this year is it comes with an electric start, well, an optional electric start. Now, the interesting thing is what Glenn Griffiths, the marketing manager for Honda Australia, said today, is I believe the dealers who Ford ordered the bikes get that electric start kit for free, which I'm assuming they're going to pass on to the customer. I believe it's in the order of $1,500, so it's a pretty cool thing. Bikes are, I believe, just coming to Australia, just hitting now, so $11,990 plus deal delivery, which takes it to $12,200. So look, that's our sort of short, sharp take stock of the bike. Really is a significant step up. Do yourself a favour, go and have a ride in one of these things. They're a lot of fun, and like I said, it feels like a 450 in a 250 frame. You can throw it around, really beautiful engine. But for me, it was about the versatility and the breadth and how forgiving this bike was that made it such an enjoyable ride.